Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out-of-this-world story from our space. My fiancé is having an affair with her doctor. Should I report it? He has been treating her for approximately 3 years and helped treat her through a mental health condition, regularly scripts meds, and most recently this spring, we went in and met with him to do fertility testing and get advice about starting a family. We are in a rural area and have some mutual friends with the doctor. I think that made it feel like a less professional relationship. My fiancé and him have had each other's cell phone numbers for a while, and she would even sometimes text him medical questions. This summer, they started hanging out one-on-one and began a sexual relationship. She has feelings for him. I just found out recently what was going on. Nobody else knows. Obviously, I am upset, just being cheated on. But I'm also dealing with feelings of betrayal that her doctor, who felt like our doctor going in together and being our support for fertility help, would do this when it seems to clearly go against his position of trust and professional boundaries. My fiancé believes the doc did nothing wrong, and there's a line in the sand between his medical treatment and relationship with her. He's a nice guy, and she told him we weren't together anymore, so he didn't do anything wrong. She hasn't used him as a doctor since they started sleeping with each other a few months ago. She says lots of doctors date and marry people and give them medical advice, and she's not like a real patient. I feel like some of his medical decisions in the past prior to their affair, scripting her out as much as Xanax as she asked for, etc., now seem colored by his attraction to her. He even came to her house to give her a personal COVID test. He knows she has mental health conditions. I don't know if I can trust him as a professional at all, which is the problem. I'm a social worker, and I think partly because of that, I'm really struggling ethically and morally if I should report him. Social work has very clear ethical boundaries. My understanding is even if she initiated and consented, sleeping with the current patient is a license violation. There is a power dynamic. To my knowledge, he has not done anything to end his care. I don't know if he has done this with other patients or if it is a pattern. To me, if it was public knowledge, it would erode the sense of safety anyone would need to trust their physician or the trust the clinic would need to feel who's providing appropriate care. I'm also hesitant to completely ruin this dude's life and don't want to act rashly and overreact because my fiancé cheated and lied with him and continues to see him, and that super sucks and I'm very mad. I will honestly feel guilty if he gets fired or his license suspended, and it will be major small-town gossip. Many people love him as a physician. I do believe he probably hasn't seen her clinically since they started sleeping together, and maybe it's just something to let go because life is messy. I don't even know if there is a legal grievance here. I don't know. I just don't want this to happen to anyone else, or for him to be some doctor predator picking up vulnerable women. But maybe they're just actually in love. Hoping for more advice from people who have more context for how inappropriate this is and how I should handle it. Thank you. P.S. I left her. One quick comment before we move on to the next story. Reddit Cam C, what do you have to say? I would report him. He could be doing this with other patients and it could affect their overall care in the long run. If you're in a rural area and this is one of the few doctors, what will happen if other patients have this happen and feel like they can no longer see the guy, but they are left without a doctor? This needs to be reported. Also, this wasn't a doctor who slept with a single person. This was someone who slept with someone engaged, making it so much worse. All right, next story. Should I, 40 male, choose my wife, 33 female, or my lover, 27 female? Help! I'm so sorry for how long this is going to be, but I'm going to skip over and simplify certain events both to save time and to keep anonymity, as while I live in a small town with people who aren't avid tech Reddit people, it would take one person connecting the dots, and this could be a mess. Okay, thanks for listening so far, and on to my post, I guess. About 3.5 years ago, my wife, the 33 female, cheated on me. A friend of hers had a cousin being released from prison on juvie or felony charges. Not quite sure what the story is and don't care. And my wife, we'll call her X, begged me to help out her friend and let cousin, C, 25 male, stay until C could get back on his feet. So I did. My wife, myself, and our 2 kids, B, 4 at the time, boy, and G, 2 at the time, girl, all made room in her house for C. He didn't pay rent at first, and generally just laid around for the first few weeks. Now, I know I'm biased, but I couldn't stand C from the get-go. He was loud, disrespectful, and couldn't understand why, even though he and I are both white males, I did not indulge in, encourage, or laugh at any of the sexist, racist jokes or comments. About 9 months later, my wife came clean to me, telling me she was having an affair with C and was unhappy in her marriage. She said I drink too much, which I admit I do have a beer a night. No more, but no less either. And that I wasn't involved enough with our kids, and she just felt alone and depressed. I was so heartbroken. I felt as though I'd failed my wife, my kids, my vows, everything. My father ran out when I was a kid, and I always wanted to be a better person, husband and father. I was devastated. I loved my wife so much. She had quit working when our first son was born, and I worked long night hours at my factory job to help keep her out of the workforce for her peace and happiness. I would work 12 hours a day for 5 days a week, and on the weekends, do the dishes, clean the house, do the laundry, etc. I was also responsible for cooking and cleaning during the week, as well as during the weekend. I was also subsidizing everything, as I was the only one with an income. This including clothes for her and the kids, food, snacks, and weed for her, and anything else she might want. Now, please understand I'm not trying to complain. I did not mind doing all these things, at least not while I was in a fulfilling and happy relationship with the woman I'd marry. But after everything came to light, I just felt hurt and resentful. However, upon her hours of begging, I chose to not kick C out on the condition he pay me a large sum of rent each month. A few months after, she came to me and said she missed me and that she had done what she had done because she felt unhappy and as though I would never change my ways. Still not exactly sure what ways she actually means. The only thing she ever really pinpoints on me is not having enough time to be involved with the kids and my drinking, which, again, I've never let affect her, my job, or my life in general. However, still being so in love with X, I promised I'd try and be a better, more attentive partner. Now, here is where I met S, 27 female. S is the complete opposite of X. While X has bounced from living with her mom, to her boyfriend, to her other boyfriend, to me, S has been the main breadwinner in all of her relationships. She is strong, fiery, and independent. She and X were acquaintances, but never really close, so I only saw S from time to time, until a year later. But every time I saw her, I just felt this attraction. It was so strong. I couldn't help but just be around her. I was still very much trying to save my marriage, but every time S was around, I just didn't care about how X felt about me. I just felt good being myself. S was genuine and sweet, but hard and strong. She was very cheeky and sarcastic, but deep down, her heart of gold always shined through. I have never met anyone quite like S. A year later, it became clear that X was just stringing me along, spending time with me and doing other couple activities just to get money for various things, sometimes even weed for her and C. I know this to be the case because X is not a good secret keeper and is also extremely loud. We have thin walls, and she talks on the phone to her girlfriends all the time. I finally had enough. I told her that while she didn't have to leave, I was wise to her tricks and she could start getting a job and buying her own stuff. She ran to C, and this started an argument between the two of us. It became physical, cocks were called, and C and I separated. At this point, I banned him from my house. X got a job, and all of a sudden, she was just as stressed as I was. Her part-time grocery store job was too stressful for her to help clean, cook, buy things, or make any major changes. She had also started rumming the fact she had a job and was going to get a nearby apartment for her and C together. She would get irate and start lecturing me about how I should keep things neater, let her sleep on her days off, and that I was still drinking too much. This time, though, I just didn't care what she said and just nodded along. At this point, S returned to the picture. I ran into her at a local store that I visit often and discovered she now worked in this nearby town. Long story short, I managed to get X to start inviting her over, and we all started hanging out. Soon, it became clear that, as much as she kept it to herself, she found me attractive as well. We started sleeping together, and she tried to distance herself from X, though X made it difficult. Reddit, the sex is amazing. I won't go into gross details, but suffice to say, there are moments where I feel like I could die happy right then and there. Seriously, it's magical. However, S was still shaking off a very controlling and abusive ex-boyfriend. Despite her efforts, the ex was able to stalk her and eventually attacked her. She was able to fight him off, but was hurt in the process. She had deep gouges and cuts on her arms, shoulders, and back. She was rushed to an out-of-town hospital and spent a month recovering. X called her every day, and, to be honest, I think she was using S's injuries as a way to make herself more interesting in X's own social circle. She became a martyr of sorts. Then, X moved out, and at the time, S came back. However, S was now devoid of a place to stay, and upon X's insistence, moved into a cheap room next door to me. I was overjoyed to see that the S I had grown so fond of was recovering very well, and was just as sweet and fiery as she had always been. Our kids love S, and have taken to spending as much time with her as they can. S does not have her own kids, but is an excellent parent. She has a natural mother's instinct, and can get my kids to behave in ways I never thought possible. And my kids actually respect her all the more for it. It's amazing, Reddit. Late last year, I was hospitalized. S checked on me daily. X complained on Facebook about how dirty the house was and how stressful her life was now that I was in the hospital. X's mother even confided to me that X had screamed, "He's not my husband! We are separated!" in response to both her mother and her mother's boyfriend, telling her she was being self-centered and a little lazy, and that I could die. Her response to hearing I could die was to denounce me. Shake my head. Now, it is February of 2021, and after 5 months of living together, X and C discovered that playing house was not all they thought it would be. C had lost his job, and according to X, that's why they fight constantly. Not because he's the jerk everyone else thinks he is, as she just never had to put up with it for extended periods of time before. No, that can't be it. I roll. They don't have sex, and X is fed up with doing everything and supporting another person, and has even started confiding in S about how she wants me back. S, the genuine soul that she is, immediately told X that she should speak to me about this and see how I feel and decide how to proceed. She did not try to dissuade or sabotage X at all. I was pretty shocked when X brought it up to me, and I did not know how to feel. She said to me, "I don't know if C is going to make me happy. I realize how I treated you. I want another baby in the future. Even if we are together, can you give me one?" She went on to say she understood, finally, the financial and emotional pressure she had put on me all these years, and C had opened her eyes to what she actually, truly, yes for real this time, really wants. Someone to match her own Herculean efforts in life. I just said we'd play things by ear, and X seemed satisfied and left my house shortly after. S, understandably, was a little off the rest of the night. While she has been pretty clear about not involving feelings between us, I absolutely have feelings for her, and in a weird way, S feels protective of X. She really was shocked X still wanted anything to do with me other than my money and stability and health insurance, and made a few comments about staying in her own place instead of spending the night with me. I told her she was fine and went to bed. I'm not much of a talker, and neither is S. But I'm not sure what to do here. I want to talk to S eventually, but I'm not sure I've decided what I'm going to say because I don't know what to do. I've been with X for so long. We have 2 kids. She's still legally my wife. I remember fun times, and I miss having the picture of perfect life. Of course, the love is still there too, but so is a lot of hurt. I was so hurt, and then hurt again when I realized she was stringing me along. I feel like I've been patient and let her be happy. Why can't I be happy? S makes me happy. She is responsible where X is not. X would rather sleep all day on her days off and complain when I get home and don't clean the mess my kids made while she was sleeping. S likes to take walks, go to the park, and play Smash Brothers with my kids. She cleans up after herself and cooks her own meals and has been financially independent since 18. X still expects me to clean and make dinner. S is sweet and caring and doesn't scream or berate me in front of others or our kids like X used to. But S is not my wife. X is my wife. What do I do? Oh, we don't have any comments from the community. Why don't you guys leave some comments about what this guy should do? Look forward to seeing him.